Hello everyone. How are you today? My name is Elizabeth Willett. I'm Senior Fertility Herbalist with the Natural Fertility Company. We are the naturalfertilityshop.com and naturalfertilityinfo.com. Today we're going to talk about caffeine and fertility, something that I get asked about pretty frequently actually. In fact, not long ago someone mentioned talking about caffeine in regards to male fertility because I've been talking about male fertility health for a little bit. This is not an advertisement. No. Listen in. We come on Periscope weekly to talk about fertility health, male and female fertility health, a variety of topics related to supporting your fertility health naturally, whether you're dealing with a menstrual health problem or battling infertility and trying to conceive and can't, or have any number of fertility problems that people deal with. So nope, not advertising at all. You will hear me talk about products once in a while. I work for a company that sells products, but I'm not forcing you to buy them. They're not the only products out there. And I do sometimes shamelessly plug things because I love them. So there is that little caveat, I guess. But what I'm really here to do is educate you. That's my job. As Senior Herbalist for the Natural Fertility Company, my number one goal is to educate you about fertility health and how you can naturally support your fertility health. Hi, welcome, first time. All right. And also help you feel empowered to make natural fertility health choices if you want to. There's some very easy ways to do that, but education and empowerment and support, regardless of what you're going through, are my jobs. So that's what I'm here for. Anyway, back to the topic, caffeine and fertility. If you're battling infertility, struggling to conceive, and you're still drinking caffeine, it might be time to consider weaning or quitting. Thank you. That's a really great little plug there. Thank you. I'm glad that we've been helpful. So if you're drinking caffeine, particularly a lot of caffeine, it might be time to think about weaning or quitting if you're battling infertility and you're struggling to try to conceive. Caffeine across the board. This is going to be caffeine across the board, although I've got a little bit of information about each topic. Coffee, diet, soda, and energy drinks, even black tea and green tea fit into this category of caffeine. All of these things, aside from black tea and green tea, although you can add sugar to them, are packed, energy drinks, soda, diet soda particularly, are packed with artificial sweeteners, lots of sugar, lots of artificial colors, lots of ingredients that are made in labs that our bodies can't recognize, that our bodies actually view as invaders, and that do a lot of harm to our cells, to our DNA. We've been talking about antioxidants and supporting egg and sperm health a lot lately on these talks, and it's a main focus of what we do here. And these foods, these beverages, particularly energy drinks, soda, and diet soda, are all really anti-fertility foods and shouldn't be consumed if you're battling infertility. I would add ever. I'm not a soda drinker though. I'm on that side of this coin. So anyway, black tea and green tea, I know that there are benefits. I know that there are a lot of people who boast their benefits, but if you're battling infertility, have a fertility health issue, you're trying to conceive, you've had multiple miscarriages, if you've got egg or sperm health issues, it might be best to avoid caffeine in those forms too and find an alternative source for the nutrients that others claim that they offer and that we know that they offer. Particularly, especially like green tea, I'm thinking antioxidants, right? Although I love green tea, and if someone told me I had to give up my green tea, I might throw a little hissy fit like a toddler. So, I mean, everybody's got to find their own balance, and this has got to feel right for you. But essentially, caffeine does have some negative benefits for fertility that we know of. Multiple studies have directly linked this is a lot of caffeine consumption to multiple miscarriage and recurrent miscarriage on the female and the male side. There have been studies and reports of women consuming 200 milliliters, which is only about 2 cups of coffee, experiencing more miscarriage than women who don't. I know that every study is a tiny bit subjective, and sometimes we don't know about that woman's health history or her diet, but these are looking at caffeine intake, and particularly they found that it's been a little bit detrimental to pregnancy and particularly increasing the risk of miscarriage. This can happen for men too. Preconception consumption of excessive amounts of caffeine on the man's part can also be a cause for miscarriage. Multiple studies have shown that excessive caffeine consumption can increase estrogen levels. We know that excess estrogen causes or contributes to hormonal balance for both men and women and can contribute to a lot of different problems. Particularly, I'm thinking things like uterine fibroids and endometriosis that are known to be fueled by excess estrogen. So if you've got either of those fertility issues, whether you're wanting to conceive or not, and you're consuming caffeine, it might be worth cutting back to see how any of the symptoms that you experience in relation to them change. I venture a guess that you'll find that some of those symptoms decrease. Caffeine is known to reduce muscle activity in the fallopian tubes, making it hard for the egg to be transported, making it difficult for the egg to move through the tube. Caffeine's been found to impact sperm motility, sperm DNA. There are studies out there that show that excessive caffeine consumption actually causes DNA damage, and things like aneuploidy or fragmented DNA in sperm. Those all can be linked to birth defects and be causative of miscarriage. Caffeine's long been associated with problems in pregnancy. We know that it crosses the placental barrier to the fetus, and a fetus's system isn't grown and mature enough to process caffeine. It can also travel through breast milk to a baby. It can make the body too acidic. Caffeine can make the body too acidic. And this may be particular to coffee, actually, or black tea. But there's a necessity for an acid-alkaline balance for healthy uterine and vaginal environments so that the sperm can travel properly, as well as produce so that the vagina and the uterus and the cervix can produce healthy, friendly, sperm-friendly cervical mucus. So if you're having a cervical mucus problem or acid-alkaline imbalance and you're consuming coffee, it might be worth looking at weaning or trying to wean to see how that changes. What else? Caffeine tasks the adrenal glands. So often we think we need it for more energy, but what it really does is becomes a downer. And there was a literature review that I found this morning that I didn't know of that was really interesting to me, of 28 different papers that looked at almost 20,000 different men and reproductive outcomes for these men, and found that it actually that's the review that I found, that it showed that soda consumption was linked to poor sperm health, motility actually, which is their ability to swim, and that coffee consumption was linked a little bit to DNA fragmentation. So none of that we want. We want the sperm to be healthy, want your DNA to be healthy, you're passing that on to your child, and we want the sperm to be able to swim. So that's necessary. If you must drink caffeine, I understand that it's hard to quit, trust me. But if you must drink it, please avoid soda and diet soda and energy drinks at all costs. Those are really not healthy, period. They shouldn't be sold ever. They shouldn't even be made, in my opinion. And yes, I am pretty staunch on that side of the coin, like I said. But try to stick to coffee or tea. There are, like I said, some known benefits of these things, and limit your intake to no more than 2 cups, and that is 8-ounce cups a day. So often we have these beautiful coffee mugs that are giant, right? Mine is. I'm also not trying to conceive or battling anything, but they're 12 to 14 to 16-ounce mugs of coffee. But if you need to consume coffee or tea, particularly caffeinated tea, try to limit it to 1 to 2 8-ounce servings. And if you feel like caffeine is a problem, if you've wondered or been questioning it, or you know you drink too much, you certainly can talk to your doctor about it and to see, or try weaning. In fact, across the board, the suggestion is don't quit caffeine cold turkey. So often that happens, and there are so many negative side effects that you end up taking pain medication or going to the doctor or having to take a lot of other over-the-counter things to help battle those symptoms, those withdrawal symptoms, and those aren't good either. So if you want to quit, or you want to know if your caffeine consumption is impacting your fertility health, or to notice if there are any changes when you cut back, wean off. That's okay to take some time to wean off of the coffee. Don't quit cold turkey. I have a tip about weaning. It's something that I've done myself, and now I'm maintaining a half-calf status in my life. If you're going to wean off coffee, try to switch from fully caffeinated coffee to a half caff, which is half caffeinated, half decaffeinated. The caveat being that it's really important to purchase a Swiss water process decaf coffee, because most conventional decaf coffees are decaffeinated through a chemical process, and those chemicals, you could consume those chemicals through the coffee. So Swiss water process decaf, make a half and half. Start there for a few weeks to a month's time, and then you can transition yourself to fully decaf. I know so many people who love the flavor of coffee that don't even necessarily claim to want it for the boost, the caffeinated boost, but they really just enjoy the smell and the flavor. And Swiss water processed decaf gives you that. So you can transition to a decaf. And then if you want to go beyond that, you could even transition from conventional coffee, a conventional decaf coffee, to a half decaf, half herbal coffee. There are herbal coffee substitutes. A lot of people, there are several companies that make them, but roasted dandelion root actually tastes a lot like coffee. So you'll see brands like Dandy Blend and Ticino, and there are even some smaller scale herbal production or herbalists out there who make different coffee substitutes or herbal coffee blends, they call them. So you could consider a half decaf, half herbal coffee if you wanted to. And really by the end of 1 or 2 months, maybe 3, you're probably going to find that you've got yourself weaned off of coffee. It may be really helpful to make sure that you're making dietary changes and taking a multivitamin while you're throughout that weaning process or before you decide to start weaning, because you're going to find that your food will hopefully give you energy and you won't need so much of that caffeine from a liquid source. So do change your diet, do take a multivitamin, and try weaning instead of going cold turkey if you're concerned about your caffeine consumption. All right, I know that was fast. I talked really fast, I know, but I've got to help out our customer care team today. So I'm going to go do that now. And if anyone else has any other questions, please do reach out to us. We're here for you. No question is silly. It's what we do. So thank you for joining me. You're welcome for the information, and we'll see you next week with another topic that hopefully is just as interesting and helpful. All right, take care. Bye.